Part 29. I Can Break the Dimensional Wall. Author, Zhozhezi Jumiao. Chapter 282. Recently, the popularity of Conan games has slowly declined. However, because of the shock, died 300 times. The video rushed to the homepage and became a popular video, which caused the sales of Conan games to increase a lot, and the popularity pulled back a little. The Up Masters video gave Sioruo some ideas, and he found some ways to increase the popularity of the game. After all, the animation world is linked, and characters with different worldviews are always eye-catching. In one animation world, seeing characters from another animation world, audiences always like to watch these things, which is not difficult to understand. Only when players like it can they sell games better. Conan's game clips, except for the first two free cases, are priced at 188 for each subsequent game clip, which is a conscience price, and there are discounts from time to time. For Sioruo, this is almost a crazy grab for money at no cost. It is too easy to make money. Sioruo herself does not know how much she has earned from selling games. Moreover, game helmets were sold cheaply at the beginning, which led to a faster popularity of game helmets. Everyone has helmets, which makes it easier to sell games by themselves. Sioruo knows best that the money in the second dimension is really easy to earn. In order to see my wife and listen to the voice of the wife of the paper, those two-dimensional people will spend money like crazy. It's only 188. In order to meet the second-dimensional wife, Sioruo felt that someone would buy it at the price of 1,888. After all, the second-dimensional wife would not ask you for a house. You don't even want to release 188, and you still say you like her. Compared with those hundreds of thousands of figurines, Sioruo feels that she has enough conscience. Sioruo was thinking about how to design it so that players would be more willing to pay. Worldview linkage. This proposal is good, but the customized protagonists in the virtual game are all Conan. After all, it is a detective game. If you want to complete the worldview linkage, there are still some troubles. You need to bring other animation characters to the world of Conan. By the way, you can also take Conan to other worlds to solve the case, and try to see if you can complete the cross-world game plot. Sioruo thought about it and came up with some ways to increase the fun of the game. The world of Conan is all about solving crimes. Before the main storyline appears, it is easy to make players boring, and it is not conducive to making money. More new themes and tricks are needed to keep players fresh. As soon as she thought of looking for animation characters from other worlds to gain popularity, Sioruo thought of the Kingian 5. Based on past experience, they are magic tools to increase popularity. The concert is the ultimate hole card. Should we bring them to the world of Conan to play? It's fine, but it's a little dangerous, and, not long ago, King Ian's concert just passed, and it needs to cool down for a while. Sioruo did a little search on moe.com, to see if there are any other popular animation characters that I can use myself. Searching along the number of clicks, Sioruo soon found out that there are a lot of mad mixed cuts of an animation character, and the number of clicks is not bad. Kitkyo High Burning Battle Collection. How strong is Kitkyo? Kankyo Burning Fighting Archery Collection. Heaven and Earth. I am the strongest witch. After clicking on the video, a priestess exuding a holy aura, uses the bow and arrow in her hand to fly every second, and with the gentle and soothing music, it gives people a different feeling. Sioruo didn't expect that among so many animations, Kikyo's popularity is so high, second only to Kingian Girl. Sioruo remembered that Kikyo is still guarding the Jade of the Four Souls and has been besieged by monsters. If she doesn't care, Kikyo's fate will be the same as the original one, being framed by the boss Naraku, and then dying of serious injuries. Is it Kikyo? I haven't been to Inuyasha world for a while. It seems that I can take a look at her. By the way, the current situation of Kikyo seems to be a little hopeless. It would be a good idea to let her join my dimensional cafe. In the past, Xiaoruo didn't take care of Kikyo's affairs, mainly because there were too many monsters in the world of Inuyasha, and there were also many powerful monsters. Xiaoruo's strength was not enough at that time. Now, Xiaoruo's level has reached LV4, and her swordsmanship has also been mastered. In the world of Inuyasha, she is not considered weak. Thinking of doing it immediately, Xiaoruo did not return to the world of Conan, but directly traveled to the world of Inuyasha. First, after visiting the shrine where Tsubaki was, Xiaoruo turned around and went to the village where Kikyo was. Inuyasha's world is very big. In the past, when she came here, Xiaoruo had to rely on Tom's magic broom to fly, but now, Xiaoruo, who has the magic of wind travel, can already fly on her own. Following the direction in memory, Xiaoruo quickly found the route to the village of Jujin. Just as soon as he got there, Xiaoruo could smell the smell of blood floating in the air, as well as the purple mist. Is this, being attacked by a monster again? Since Kikyo obtained the Jade of the Four Souls, he has often been attacked, sneaked, and besieged by groups of monsters. This kind of thing often happens, and it is precisely because of this that Kikyo has developed a heart of steel. When Xiaoruo rushed to the village, Xiaoruo saw a messy village. Inside the village, Xiaoruo even saw houses burning. Generally speaking, there will be no monsters who can break into this place. Has Kikyo's enchantment been broken by a monster? The water in Inuyasha's world is very deep, and there are countless powerful monsters. There are also powerful monsters who come to snatch the Jade of the Four Souls. It is not impossible to break the barrier of Kikyo. In the distance, Xiaoruo saw the light of Kikyo's power to destroy demons. It seemed that she was fighting monsters in the distance. In the village, a few monsters broke in while Kikyo was not in the village. Ha ha ha, that kid is Kikyo's younger sister. He took her hostage and asked Kikyo to hand over the Jade of the Four Souls. A centipede monster flying in the air said, and flew down towards Feng holding a bow and arrow below. Ah! After all, Feng is too young and has no talent. When he sees monsters, he doesn't even have the strength to resist. However, when Feng was caught, Xiaoruo appeared in front of Feng's eyes, with the long sword accompanied by the water flow. A smooth sword dance cut the flying monster into several sections. The breath of water, the shape of the three, flowing and dancing. Brother Xiaoruo. After seeing Xiaoruo, Feng immediately shouted in surprise. It seemed that she recognized this big brother who had met before and gave her sweets. Well, don't worry, with me here, everything will be fine. Xiaoruo said with a smile. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 283. Swish. 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 Under Xiaoruo's swordsmanship, several little monsters were quickly dealt with by Xiaoruo. These were the only monsters that broke into the village. After being hacked to death by Xiaoruo, the village became temporarily safe. Outside the village, there are still demon-breaking power and Kikyo's arrows shining. It seems that there are still some monsters outside the village that Kikyo has not yet dealt with. For Kikyo, is Xiaoruo very worried? No monster can resist the power to break the demon. I believe Kikyo will come back in a short time. Seeing that all the monsters were hacked to death by Xiaoruo, Kikyo's younger sister, Feng, ran up to Xiaoruo excitedly. Brother Xiaoruo, why are you here? Where have you been all this time? I haven't seen you for a long time. Feng was really excited and asked Xiaoruo several questions in succession. It seems that she has a really good impression of Xiaoruo, and the original snack strategy seems to be effective. Feng was wearing dark coarse cloth clothes, his young eyes seemed to be shining brightly, but probably because of malnutrition, Feng's face was a little pale. Long time no see, Xiao Feng. I was busy for a while, so I didn't have time to come and see you. Xiaoruo stretched out her hand and gently touched Feng's little head. A lot of snacks. Very good. Feng can be regarded as a child no matter what. When he heard that there were snacks, he immediately jumped up excitedly. Xiaoruo took out some candy from the portable space and handed it to Feng. It is also necessary for children to be happy. Just as Xiaoruo thought, within a few minutes, Jijiao hurried back from outside the village. After seeing that her sister and the village were fine, it was obvious that Jijiao breathed a sigh of relief. Kikyo is still the same as before, with long black hair, the same indifferent expression on his face, and the same red and white witch costume for thousands of years. It's just that after not seeing her for a while, Xiaoruo found that the Platycodon root looks a lot haggard now. There is also a strong smell of blood on her body. It seems that often fighting monsters is also a hard job for her. After Kikyo returned to the village, he saw Xiaoruo standing at the entrance of the village. Kikyo was also a little surprised that Xiaoruo appeared here. Xiaoruo, you are here. Long time no see, Kikyo, Xiaoruo greeted Kikyo. The so-called soft mouth of others, Feng who was on the side also quickly said good things to Xiaoruo. Sister Kikyo, a monster was about to attack me just now, but luckily brother Xiaoruo saved me. Hearing that Xiaoruo had rescued Feng, Kikyo took a deep look at Xiaoruo, and sincerely thanked Xiaoruo. Thank you. It's just a little effort. Thank you very much. If it wasn't for you, something might happen to Feng today. Is there something wrong with your visit this time? Kikyo's intuition told her that Xiaoruo would definitely not come here for no reason. I remembered, last time you seemed to be in trouble and needed my help. Did you come to me now? What Kikyo said was what happened when Xiaoruo went to Spirited Away. At that time, Kikyo promised to help Xiaoruo solve the trouble, but in the end it was useless. I've already settled that matter. I'm here this time as a friend, just to see you, Xiaoruo said with a smile. Facing this kind of problem with Kikyo, even if Xiaoruo had another purpose, she wouldn't say it honestly. Oh. Kikyo responded, her expression was as indifferent as ever, which could be considered her character. Kikyo was a little surprised to hear that Xiaoruo came to see her, but she still nodded. She doesn't have many friends, and if Xiaoruo can come to see her, although Kikyo doesn't show it on her face, she is still a little happy in her heart. However, the village has just been attacked by monsters, and Kikyo's mood quickly sinks. Xiaoruo, this time, the village has been seriously damaged. I may not be able to entertain you for the time being, sorry. Kikyo glanced at the village attacked by monsters, and his tone was a little low. Although only a few little monsters broke into the village, it was still a disaster for this small village. In the village, the houses of several villagers were knocked down by monsters, and several villagers were injured. Although no one died, it was a heavy loss for a small village with 100 people. Kikyo went to see the damage in the village, and Xiaoruo also followed Kikyo. Master Kikyo! Master Kikyo! Seeing Kikyo coming back, the villagers all greeted Kikyo respectfully. No matter they were old or young, they had the same attitude towards Kikyo. For ordinary people, witches are above all. Kikyo nodded slightly, and then asked, how many people were injured? There are 4 people, Kikyo-sama, a young man at the side replied respectfully to Kikyo. Take me. Yes. This village doesn't look good, Xiaoruo thought. I didn't pay attention to it before, but now Xiaoruo realizes that the environment where the Platycodon is located is really bad. Xiaoruo followed the Platycodon route all the way, observing the small village. Although the environment of this small village is good, it is definitely a paradise in modern times, but the disadvantage is also obvious, that is, it is too poor. He once traveled with Chun for a period of time in the Warring States period. The village where Kikyo was located, even in the war-torn Warring States period, was considered a relatively poor village. The villagers are all sallow and thin, and all of them look malnourished. Even the young people are not very tall, and the expressions on their faces are also very heavy. It seems that their daily life is very difficult. Moreover, this village is often attacked by monsters, and there is no source of income. If it only relies on farming, life will not be very good. Kikyo quickly found the injured villagers. Those injured villagers were arranged together, waiting for the treatment of Kikyo. Naturally, there are no such talents as doctors in such a poor village. As a witch, Kikyo has some medical skills, so she usually handles injuries in the village. Master Kikyo. When several wounded saw Kikyo coming, they all greeted Kikyo respectfully. "Don't worry, I will treat you well," Kikyo tried to comfort the wounded. "Thank you, Kikyo-sama." "Fine." Facing the wounded, Kikyo softened his face, took the medicine box that Feng had just brought, and began to bandage the wounded with medicine. And Syoruo stood aside, quietly watching this scene. His eyes just swept across the wounded. Two were slightly injured, which seemed to be injuries to their arms, and two were seriously injured. It was unclear whether they were injured by monsters or by collapsed houses. The four wounded were all young men. Syoruo glanced at the surrounding villagers for a while. Their expressions were a bit gloomy, and there were a few peasant women who were crying silently, probably the family members of the injured. This monster attack hit them hard. It is probably the season of spring plowing, and the injuries of several young and strong laborers are definitely a heavy blow to a family. Syoruo put her gaze on the orange terrier. At this moment, the orange terrier was still concentrating on bandaging the wounded. Has Kikyo not realized yet? Her existence is actually a drag on this small village. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 284. Kikyo, the legendary witch. When Kikyo took over the task of guarding the Jade of the Four Souls, relying on her own strength, she blocked the endless attacks of monsters. She has been a legend since she guarded the Jade of the Four Souls and was not captured by any monsters. However, for the small village where Kikyo lives, there is a lack of descriptions. Because Kikyo lives here, the villagers have to face the same danger as Kikyo. Syoruo remembers that in the animation, when there are monsters who want to snatch the Jade of the Four Souls, these villagers will foolishly come out with the farm tools in their hands to fight with the monsters. However, for these civilians, the Jade of the Four Souls, and monsters, these should have nothing to do with them. Thinking of this, Syoruo knew how she could recruit Kikyo. The bandage is done. Be careful not to splash water on the wound. I will come to change your dressing in a few days. Thank you, Kikyo-sama. The injured villagers thanked them. Although the wounds were bandaged, they still looked weak. Yeah, Kikyo nodded. Kikyo finished everything and the sky was already dark, so she packed up her medicine box and was about to leave. Let's go. Syoruo originally thought that Kikyo was going back, but unexpectedly, after Kikyo handed over the medicine box to Feng, she was ready to go outside the village. Syoruo, I'm sorry, you go back with Feng first. I have to rearrange the barrier outside the village. The barrier that I arranged last time may be too long, so it is not strong enough. This time I will rearrange one, Kikyo said with his own bow and arrow on his back. Okay, then you are busy. Since Kikyo said so, Syoruo had no choice but to go back with Feng. He wanted to follow Kikyo, but Feng was a child after all and needed someone to take care of him. Syoruo followed Feng to the place where she and Kikyo lived. The place where Kikyo lives is a dilapidated small shrine. I don't know how many years the house was built. It is completely incomparable with the large shrine inherited by Tsubaki. Syoruo looked at the house, and as far as she could see, she couldn't even find a decent piece of furniture. It didn't look like a witch's house at all, but it looked no different from the homes of ordinary villagers. The only advantage is that it is fairly clean. It was already dark, and even with the oil lamps on, the room was still a little dark. Does the legendary witch live in such a place? Xiaoruo thought sadly. The living conditions here are indeed very poor. Feng is eating the snacks that Xiaoruo brought her. Looking at Feng's seemingly malnourished face, Xiaoruo always has the feeling that she is here to help the poor. Kikyo's living conditions are too pitiful. Brother Xiaoruo, you haven't eaten yet, you're here as a guest today, and I'll cook for you. Usually, when it's just me and my sister, I'm the one who cooks. Feng suddenly realized something, put aside all the snacks Xiaoruo gave, and started to light a fire to cook. It's usually you who cooks, doesn't your sister know how to cook? Xiaoruo asked curiously. That's not the case. My sister is usually too busy. She always has to deal with a lot of things. She has to treat the villagers and expel monsters. Sometimes, monsters will attack at night. My sister doesn't have enough time to rest every day. That's why I want to help my sister. Feng explained to Xiaoruo. So that's how it is, Xiaoruo nodded. It seems that Kikyo usually works harder than she imagined, and a witch is not an easy job. Feng started to light a fire to cook. Xiaoruo could imagine that this poor family couldn't provide any decent food to entertain guests. Just as Xiaoruo imagined, Feng made a pot of stewed mush, and in the mush, a few slices of radishes floated on top. Do you usually eat this? Xiaoruo asked, frowning as she looked at the glutinous pot. Well, there have been severe droughts in recent years, and the crops have not been harvested well, so I can only take out these foods. Brother Xiaoruo must be the young master of a noble family, so he shouldn't eat this kind of food very much. However, I think the taste not bad, Brother Xiaoruo, you can try it. Seeing Xiaoruo frowning, Feng's tone suddenly weakened, as if she was entertaining guests with such food. She also felt very embarrassed. Xiaoruo picked up the spoon and took a sip. It was mushy in the mouth, he couldn't even taste the seasoning, and the taste was not very good. For a chef like Xiaoruo who came from a small Chinese family, it felt hard to swallow. Well, it's delicious, Xiaoruo said, looking at Feng with a smile. When Feng heard Xiaoruo said it was delicious, he breathed a sigh of relief, and smiled again. Right, I knew it was delicious, and my sister also said it was delicious. Xiaoruo stared at the mush in the pot, and sighed. During the Warring States period, there were many years of wars, and it was understandable that there was not enough food. In the original Inuyasha, there are many scenes where people starve to death due to famine. Is it really nutritious to eat this kind of thing? I don't know how the bellflower persists. If you eat this kind of thing and consume it a little, you will be hungry. Xiaoruo finally knew why Feng was so thin and small. How could it be nutritious to eat this kind of food? After all, Xiaoruo is a modern person. When seeing food, he will subconsciously think about nutrition. But in fact, for people in this war-torn era, when eating, they don't think about the so-called nutrition at all, as long as they can fill their stomachs. Xiaoruo thought that there were some spare ingredients in her private space, including meat, vegetables, and some seasonings, and Xiaoruo took them out. Dang 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 dang. Xiaoruo made a small jingle action and took out a huge piece of ham. Come to see Xiaofeng today. In fact, I brought the ingredients here to make a big meal for Xiaofeng. Wow. Feng let out a cooperating wow, his eyes sparkled. In Feng's eyes, Brother Xiaoruo seemed to be able to easily conjure a lot of food. Moreover, she has indeed not eaten meat for a long time. Brother Xiaoruo, that's amazing. Certainly. Xiaoruo directly set up a new pot, and started to make hot pot for Feng. With seasoning, the rich aroma soon wafted out. By the time Kikyo finished rearranging the barrier, it was already midnight. However, the lights in her residence were still on, and Feng's laughter and the sound of music could be heard from time to time in the house. Xiaoruo and Feng seemed to be having a good time. Kikyo has not heard Feng laugh so happily for a long time. Opening the door, Kikyo saw Feng and Xiaoruo eating hot pot together, and then Xiaoruo played the guitar for Feng. The room hadn't been this lively for a long time. "Sister, you are back, we have delicious hot pot today," Feng looked at his sister and shouted happily. "Thank you," Xiaoruo also said to Kikyo. Kikyo looked at her sister and Xiaoruo who were waiting for her at home, and nodded. "Well, I'm back. I can break the dimensional wall." Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 285. That night, the atmosphere was pretty good. Xiaoruo could also feel that after she came, Kikyo seemed to be in a much better mood, and there was a smile on her cold face. After all, no friends usually come to visit her. "When are you here this time, when will you leave?" Kikyo asked Xiaoruo with a glance. "I don't have anything to do recently, I can stay here for a few more days," Xiaoruo replied after thinking about it. "Well, then you can stay with me temporarily, Feng likes you very much, you can also play with her, because of me, there are no children who usually play with her," Kikyo nodded. "Okay, I like this child very much too," Xiaoruo patted Feng's head, and when Feng heard what Xiaoruo said, she backed away in embarrassment. The happy time passed quickly. It was late at night, and Xiaoruo didn't say anything to Jijiao. Just like that, Xiaoruo lived in the place where Jijiao lived for one night. In this dilapidated shrine, there are only sisters Kikyo and Maple, and they have no relatives. Early the next morning, just after dawn, Kikyo took the medicine kit to visit the injured. When Xiaoruo woke up, the Platycodon had disappeared. "Your sister is really busy," Xiaoruo said to Feng, who also got up early. Recently, Xiaoruo has become a lot lazy in the world of Conan. She sleeps in all day, which is the first time she wakes up so early. "My sister is like this every day, it's very hard, so I have to grow up quickly, so that I can help my sister in the future," Feng said with a childish expression, clenched his fists. "Then work hard and grow up quickly." Xiaoruo touched Feng's head and smiled, but he knew that even if Feng grew up, she was just a very ordinary witch, and it was impossible for her to help Kikyo. Feng nodded seriously. Kikyo went out with the medicine box and didn't come back until noon. After lunch, he went out again with the bow and arrow. It seemed that he was out on patrol. When he came back again, it was already night. Xiaoruo stayed at Jijiao's house for a few days. It was the same situation almost every day. Kikyo went out with a bow and arrow, and when he came back again, he would have a strong smell of blood on his body. Those are the blood taste of monsters. It can be seen from the original work that Kikyo is eager to become an ordinary girl and live a normal life, but her mission does not allow her to be like a normal person, and fighting monsters is her daily life. Only after returning home, Kikyo's eyes will become gentler, looking like a gentle girl. In the Warring States period, monsters could never be killed. As long as there is war, hatred, and desire, the world will endlessly create monsters. Even if Kikyo kills monsters every day and keeps killing them, the monsters will not decrease at all. Xiaoruo actually wanted to help, but Kikyo asked her to stay and take care of Feng. If it was just a monster, Kikyo could handle it by herself. One day, Kikyo came back a bit late because she was asked to go to a place to eliminate demons. It was already midnight when she came back. Xiaoruo stood quietly at the door waiting for Kikyo, watching the solitary priestess walking back slowly under the moonlight. The priestess in the night has a different image from the one in the daytime. Like a ranger in the dark night, mysterious and elegant. "You're back. Well, is Feng already asleep?" Kikyo nodded and asked. The moonlight sprinkled on her face, revealing her delicate face. "Yes, I let her go to bed first, I will stay and wait for you," Syaruo replied. Actually, you don't have to wait for me. I sometimes come back very late, Kikyo explained to Syaruo, while putting the bow and arrow in her hand aside. When Kikyo approached, with the moonlight, Syaruo noticed that Kikyo's hair and body were wet, and it seemed to have some fragrance. What is the taste? Syaruo sniffed gently, but couldn't smell what it was. Kikyo noticed Syaruo's sniffing movements, and also sniffed her clothes. Can you still smell it? Because you said that my body smells like blood. When I came back today, I went to the river to wash it. Ah, no, Syaruo shook her head. Just smell the aroma. Fragrance. Realizing what Syaruo said, a blush appeared on Kikyo's face, but it disappeared quickly. It's too late, let's go to bed early, Kikyo said to Syaruo, and after that, she was going to rest. Wait a minute, Syaruo suddenly stopped the bellflower that was going to rest. What's wrong? Kikyo looked at Syaruo puzzled, not knowing what else he had to do. Kikyo, have you thought about the future? Future. At night, a breeze blew in from the window and brushed the faces of the two of them. At this moment, the atmosphere looked a little different. Syaruo didn't light the lamp, but in the dark room, both of them could see each other's expressions clearly. Kikyo clenched her small hands slightly, showing the wavering in her heart. People are born confused, so they aspire to be noble people. This sentence is summed up when Kikyo has experienced too many things when he was saving his sweetheart, and it is also a summary of Kikyo's own life. Before bailing Mountain, Kikyo was in such a state of confusion. For those who are confused, what they are most afraid of is talking about the future. So when Syaruo asked this question, she already knew the answer. Kikyo has no future, or in other words, she has not considered the future at all. At this time, Kikyo is still very easy to be influenced by others, which is also Kikyo's weakness. The future? Kikyo's eyes drifted away into the distance. Even though her heart was shaken for a moment, her expression did not change at all, and the surrounding atmosphere became very quiet. After a few seconds, Kikyo continued to speak. I have no future, my mission is to protect the Jade of the Four Souls. Syaruo looked at the side face of Kikyo, with an unexpectedly serious expression. Jiao, how long can you protect the Jade of the Four Souls? After all, you are a human being. After decades, when you grow old, can you still maintain your current strength? Why, don't think of a better way. A better way? No, except for me, no one can protect and purify the Jade of the Four Souls. Therefore, I can only protect it as much as I can, even if I get old. It's not that Kikyo didn't think of a better way, but, apart from the disappearance of the Jade of the Four Souls in this world, otherwise, there is no better way. Kikyo glanced at Syaruo. This was the first time someone had discussed the future with her in this atmosphere, and it was also the first time Kikyo had someone to confide in. I know you're worried about me, but the Jade of the Four Souls has the ability to fulfill wishes. If it is captured by evil monsters, it will be a great disaster for this world. I'm a witch, so naturally I can't let such a thing happen. Therefore, it is my destiny to protect the Jade of the Four Souls. Even if I grow old, I will not give up. Kikyo's tone was firm without any hesitation. When she said this, she took out the Jade of Four Souls from her bosom and put it in her palm. This seemingly ordinary jade locked his life. Syaruo smiled softly when she heard Kikyo's words. Kikyo's tone was firm, but she didn't say what to do when she was getting old and had no strength. So what do you do when you get old? Syaruo just needs to be precise, that is, when Kikyo gets old, the Jade of the Four Souls will be in danger of being taken away. This question, Kikyo can't answer. Jianju, this is not the best choice for you. I have a better way to prevent monsters from getting the Jade of the Four Souls. What way? Kikyo was a little curious when he heard Syaruo's words. Together with the Jade of the Four Souls, you disappeared into this world. Syaruo didn't wait for Kikyo to ask questions, but went on talking on her own. Jujin, you made a mistake. Pursuing your own happiness and ideals does not conflict with fulfilling your own mission. Even if you protect the Jade of the Four Souls, you can still live like ordinary people, although you feel uncomfortable possibly, but I can do it. Saying that, Syaruo looked into the eyes of Kikyo. At this time, Syaruo's eyes were full of sincerity. Syaruo knew that if she wanted to go a step further at this time and make Kikyo agree to her request, she had to be sincere. For girls like Kikyo, it was most effective to be honest with each other. Kido, let me tell you my secret. I come from an era 500 years later, that is to say, I traveled through time and space and came to this world. So that's how it is. Hearing Syaruo's confession, Kikyo nodded slightly, with a dazed expression on his face. Recalling the special products that Syaruo had brought out, Kikyo had no doubts about what Syaruo said. In the era 500 years later, monsters have almost disappeared, and there are no rumors of the Jade of the Four Souls. If you go to the era 500 years later with me, you will be reborn at that time, and there will be no more monsters. Take the Jade of the Four Souls, and you can live like an ordinary person. How about it, are you willing to go with me 500 years later? Speaking of this, Syaruo paused for a moment, waiting for Kikyo's reply. What Syaruo wanted to do was to abduct Kikyo to Conan's world and join her dimensional coffee shop. 500 years later. Kikyo frowned in surprise. It seemed that during the time Syaruo spoke, she had already thought about it, and when Kikyo raised her head, her eyes became firm again. Thank you for your proposal is indeed very tempting. However, I am a person of this era, and it is my mission to stay in this era. Sorry, maybe I will grow old. At that time, maybe I will think of other ways. Kikyo still rejected Syaruo's proposal. Although Syaruo's proposal is indeed very tempting, after going there for 500 years, maybe he can really avoid the attack of monsters and protect the Jade of the Four Souls. Kikyo also believes that Syaruo will not deceive herself, but following Syaruo to live in the world 500 years later and leaving the land where she was born and raised, from the bottom of her heart, Kikyo still cannot accept it. Rejected. It's a pity, I still want to invite Kikyo to play with us, and take Feng to the amusement park. By the way, Syaruo looked a little disappointed seeing Kikyo rejecting her proposal. Sorry. Seeing Syaruo's disappointed expression, Kikyo was also a little embarrassed. After all, the other party also came up with the proposal for his own sake, and even revealed his secret. Regarding this point, Kikyo is still a little heartwarming. However, Kikyo doesn't know that Syaruo's disappointment is all in disguise, and Kikyo will refuse, which Syaruo also thought of. Going to the world 500 years later, such a proposal would naturally not be agreed so easily. Since Kikyo refused, with Kikyo's character, no matter how much she persuaded her, she would not agree, Syaruo should give up. But after all, Syaruo has rich experience in public relations, and knows how to deal with the rejection of girls. After all, the witch Kikyo is just a woman. As long as it is a woman, Syaruo has a way to win it. It was really too simple for Syaruo to ask a girl to agree to one thing. Although Kikyo refused at this time, as long as there is a suitable reason, Syaruo can still let her follow him back obediently. However, Kikyo, when you get old, the Jade of the Four Souls may still be taken away by monsters. Why don't you just fake your death and disappear with the Jade of the Four Souls? In this way, no monsters will miss the Jade of the Four Souls anymore. Alright, Syaruo made another suggestion to Kikyo. Hearing this idea, Kikyo shook his head. In this world, there are too many monsters with strange abilities. Even if the Jade of the Four Souls is in the underworld, there will be monsters who can find it. It's useless, as long as the jade of the four souls exists in this world, monsters will swarm in like hungry wolves, and they can't hide at all. So, it's better to go with me 500 years later. There will be absolutely no monsters to be found there, just wait for a while, and you will be fine when you come back. Syaruo changed the topic in an instant, and brought the topic back. Kankyo, have you ever heard of winter and summer vacations? In my time, no matter what job you do, you have vacations. The same is true for witches. People can't work every day, and they need proper rest. Follow me to 5 after 100 years, if you live for a period of time, it will be regarded as a vacation. And you have traveled in the clouds. Going to the world 500 years later can also be regarded as a cloud travel. It will be fine to come back in a year. That's right, as long as you take a step back and give the other party the right to choose. It is obviously the same proposal, but the girl will think again, and there is a high probability that she will agree. Unlike leaving the homeland, just staying for a year, this proposal is much easier to accept. Live for a year? Sure enough, Kikyo began to think about it when he heard that he was only going to live there for a year. But, seeing Kikyo hesitate, Syaruo knew there was something going on. Jianju, there is nothing to worry about. Going to the future world is also a growth and a new experience for you. And if you are not satisfied with your living conditions, you can come back on the same day. You still don't believe what I said? Syaruo looked at Kikyo with sincere eyes. At this moment, the two looked at each other. Sure enough, seeing Syaruo's sincere gaze, Kikyo was shaken again. What Syaruo said, as long as you are not satisfied, you can come back at any time, these are all serious. Anyway, as long as the orange terrier passes, he will naturally let the orange terrier stay. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 286. After Kikyo agreed, she also asked Feng, and Feng quickly agreed. She likes Syaruo more than Kikyo. For them, going to modern times with Syaruo is like staying at Syaruo's house for a while. Syaruo also distributed a large amount of gold to the villagers in the village. Even with the money, it is enough to live in the city up. And what Syaruo did was seen by Kikyo. Thank you so much, Syaruo, I don't even know how to thank you. Kikyo still believes that Syaruo brought him back to his time to help him and save himself from being attacked by monsters. It's okay, it's not difficult anyway, let's go, Feng. Syaruo took Feng's hand. Okay, brother Syaruo, I'm going to brother Syaruo's house soon. Feng seemed excited. Of course, there will be a lot of delicious snacks, and there will be an interesting young detective team to play with you, Syaruo said to Feng. Also, the monster will never come after you again. Really? Won't there be monsters chasing you? Kikyo's always cold face also showed a look of anticipation. In this era, as a priestess, she has to fight monsters almost every day, so it's a little unimaginable, really. There is no place for monsters. Traveling through time and space, there are really such miraculous things in this world. Of course, let's go. Syaruo just held the hands of the two of them, and turned around for a while. The next moment, Kikyo and Feng were brought to Conan's world by Syaruo, and the place where they appeared was a room in the coffee shop that Syaruo bought. Dimension Cafe. This room is also Syaruo's room for himself, although he has always lived in the Maori office upstairs. Wow, everything here is so beautiful, Feng said, having never looked at the modern-style room at all, and immediately looked at everything around him with great interest. For her, everything here is very magical. It's just some simple decorations, so delicate that even the most powerful craftsmen in their village can't make them. As expected of the era 500 years later, everything around me is indeed different from my era. I never expected that the world would have such a big change after only 500 years. Kikyo looked around calmly. Although she looked calm, there was still a trace of surprise in her eyes. In 500 years, the world has changed too fast. That's right, after 500 years, monsters have slowly withdrawn from the stage of history, while humans have mastered the power of technology and began to recuperate. I guess you will see many surprising things here. You can watch more TV with Tom, and you can understand the world better, Sioruo said with a smile. Next, Sioruo began to arrange rooms for Kikyo and Feng, the room in the Dimension Cafe, just enough for them to live in. By the way, you guys have to change your clothes too, let me think about it, Sioruo thought of this, and looked at the clothes on Feng and Jixiao. Kikyo is still wearing her classic red and white witch costume, while Feng is wearing a rough cloth. These are not clothes that can be worn out. Don't worry about the clothes. I will let Xiaoling buy them for you in a while. Now, first of all, I want to let you know some basic knowledge about this era, otherwise, some problems may arise. Then, Sioruo told Kikyo and Maple some basic knowledge about modern times. Of course, they were the most basic knowledge. Anyway, we can't let Kikyo treat the car as a monster after going out, and make such a joke happen. In this way, Sioruo carefully explained to them all afternoon, and also took Kikyo and Feng to recognize Xiaoling, the manager of the coffee shop at this time. At this time, there was no one in the coffee shop. I don't know if it was because the shop was too remote. It was usually deserted and there were no customers. And at this moment, a few acquaintances suddenly came in outside the coffee shop. Sister Xiaolan, why are you looking for Brother Sioruo in such a hurry? Conan's voice came from the door of the coffee shop. It turned out that the people who came at this time were Conan and Xiaolan. Conan, children can't know too many things, Xiaolan said, looking at Conan with a smile. Cut. Hearing what Xiaolan said, the corners of Conan's mouth twitched, and he thought, you really treat me like a child, but what on earth is Xiaolan going to say to Sioruo, and she's so secretive. After entering the coffee shop, Xiaolan saw Sioruo, her eyes lit up. Mr. Sioruo, you are indeed here. I have something urgent to tell you. I couldn't get through to your phone just now, Xiaolan said after walking in front of Sioruo. At the same time, Xiaolan also noticed the witch Kikyo beside Sioruo. When she saw Kikyo, Xiaolan froze for a moment. Conan on the side was stunned when he saw Kikyo. There is no way, the woman in the priestess costume in front of me is really beautiful, and her temperament is also very special. It's as if he doesn't belong to this world. Of course, Sioruo thought so too. Because the painting styles of the two worlds are somewhat different, although they both look human, the difference can still be seen. The girls in the world of Conan all have similar faces, sharper faces, and look alike, so Kikyo is very different from them, and Sioruo thinks that Kikyo's painting style is better than that of Conan's world. This shrine maiden is so beautiful, she looks like a shrine maiden who came out of a manga. I feel that she is the most suitable for a shrine maiden. If she debuts, she will definitely be more popular than Yoko Okino, Conan thought in his heart. Who is this? Xiaolan asked suspiciously. Xiaolan, let me introduce you. This is Miss Kikyo, my friend, who is a witch by profession. This child is called Feng, and she is Miss Kikyo's younger sister. Sioruo introduced Kikyo and Feng to Xiaolan. I also introduced Ran and Conan to Kikyo. This is Mao Lilan, my friend, and this little brother is called Conan, he is a very smart kid. Hello. After Sioruo's brief introduction, Kikyo also nodded slightly, but Kikyo's eyes fell on Mao Lilan's hairstyle curiously. This is the first time she has seen this unique hairstyle. Is this the hairstyle that girls in the world will like 500 years later? Hello, Xiaolan also greeted Kikyo, but her voice became softer when facing Kikyo. Even though Xiaolan has always been considered a good-looking girl in school, she still feels ashamed when facing Kikyo. There is no way, when Kikyo is dressed in a shrine maiden costume, there is an aura of dust. With smooth black hair and a perfect face, she doesn't seem like a girl in this world. In addition, the other party is a priestess, which is a rare profession, which adds a bit of mystery. For girls in this era, their temperament is simply crushing, but Xylan, a high school student, is naturally not comparable. And the other party has smooth black hair. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I Can Break the Dimensional Wall. Author, Zhou. Chapter 287. Is your name Conan? I heard Brother Xiaoruo said about you. Feng, who was behind Xiaoruo, took a look at this child who was about the same age as him. Compared with Xylan, Feng seemed to care more about his peers. Yes, I am Conan. Conan also noticed the little girl behind Xiaoruo. This child, the clothes on his body are so shabby, and the style of the clothes, is he filming a costume drama? Conan looked at the clothes on Feng's body, feeling a little puzzled. Looking at Feng's caring eyes on Conan, Xiaoruo was a little speechless. Conan didn't know why, but he had a special attribute that attracted little girls. In the original work, there were almost no primary school girls who met Conan without falling for him. But Feng's age is a bit older than Conan's. By the way, Xylan, what do you want to see me for? Xiaoruo asked Xylan. Mr. Xiaoruo, Xylan glanced sideways at Conan, and then dragged Xiaoruo to a hidden corner, as if deliberately avoiding Conan. However, what she did was a little too obvious. Strange, deliberately avoiding me? Why, are you talking about something related to me? Conan frowned when he saw this scene. If I had known, I would have put the transmitter on Xylan, so that I would know what they said. No, even if I put the transmitter, maybe Xiaoruo discover. Forget it, anyway, Xiaoruo already knows my identity. What Xiaolan told him, I'll just ask him directly in a while. At this time, Xylan was telling Xiaoruo what happened just now. Mr. Xiaoruo, I just received a call. The person on the phone said that she was Conan's mother. She said on the phone that she would come to pick up Conan tomorrow. What should I do? It turned out to be this matter. Xiaoruo recalled this plot, which can be regarded as a small main line. Conan was taken away by his fake parents. At first, Conan thought that the organization in black knew his identity, but in the end it was just a false alarm. It was his father Yosaku Kudo and her mother pretending to be bad guys to trick him. It's a fun plot, but Conan was scared a little bit. Mr. Xiaoruo, do you know what? Xylan was a little puzzled by Xiaoruo's reaction, as if she knew it in advance. Isn't Conan the same as Shinichi? Then why did Conan's mother come to pick him up? I tried it on the phone and found that she is not Shinichi's mother. Tell me, maybe Conan's identity has been exposed. Could it be that the organization in black knew that Shinichi had become Conan and wanted to catch him? So shall I give those villains a punch tomorrow? Ask them to hand over the antidote that can restore Shinichi to his original state. When Xylan said this, she punched the air, creating a gust of wind. Conan, who was watching the scene not far away, also saw Xylan's movement of punching, and wiped his sweat. Xylan looks very angry. Could it be that someone provoked Xylan, so he wanted to teach that person a lesson, because the content of the conversation was too bloody, so he avoided me? Conan suddenly reasoned. Xiaoruo saw Xylan's fist swing, and found that Xylan's strength was much stronger, and her breathing also changed a little. Xylan, your breathing method seems to be improving very quickly, but don't be too impulsive. This time you misunderstood, Xiaoruo said to Xylan. Misunderstand? Yes, I misunderstood. In fact, I already knew about this matter. Conan's parents came to pick him up. Don't worry, Conan will not be in danger, Xiaoruo gave Xylan a reassuring smile. But, Xylan still doesn't understand why there is no danger for a stranger to come to Conan. In fact, Conan's identity has already been told by Dr. Ali to Shinichi's parents, so this time, Shinichi's parents returned to China to visit Conan, but they prepared a prank to scare Conan. "It's you, don't be too nervous, be careful to expose yourself." Sioruo told Xylan the truth. "Ah, so that's the case, let me just say, how could Conan be exposed so quickly?" Hearing what Sioruo said, Xylan breathed a sigh of relief. "As expected of Mr. Sioruo, you still know Xinyi's parents, and you even know that they want to trick Xinyi." "Ha." Sioruo smiled and didn't explain anything. After Xylan finished asking, Conan secretly ran to Sioruo's side, and asked in a low voice, "Sioruo, what did Xylan tell you just now? What secret do you have to avoid me? Do you really want to listen?" Sioruo confirmed. "Well, tell me quickly." Xylan said that Xinyi hasn't come back for a long time. "Maybe there is a new woman outside. The next time we meet, she must give Xinyi a hard blow and send him directly to the hospital, so that he can spend the rest of his life. They are all lying on the bed, and they will never be able to leave or anything," Sioruo said after thinking about it. "Ah." Hearing Sioruo's answer, Conan's face suddenly became ugly, as if he really believed it. That night, Conan used Shinichi's voice to call Xylan for a long time. After coaxing Xylan for a long time, he dared to sleep peacefully. The next day, because he called too late last night, Conan's spirit was not very good, but it was worth it to calm down Xylan. Conan didn't know that his parents were going to trick him, and he was still playing the game console. In order to pretend to be a child, Conan was quite serious. "Conan. Sister Xylan, what's the matter?" Conan put down the game console in his hand and asked. "It's been a long time since your parents boarded you with us and went on a business trip abroad. Don't you feel lonely at all?" Xylan asked while standing behind Conan. "Lonely, no." Conan shook his head quickly, and continued to play the game console. "Really, what parents? They never showed up and didn't say anything, and they didn't even leave a contact information," Mori Kogoro complained. At this time, Sioruo poured a cup of coffee and walked over, sitting next to Conan. "Conan, if your parents don't show up again, your lies will be exposed one day," Sioruo whispered while looking at the game console Conan was playing at this time. "Lie," Conan sighed, he didn't know how long he could last this lie. "At least, my parents are abroad, this is not a lie." At this moment, the doorbell of the Maori office suddenly rang, and Xylan answered and ran to open the door. Conan was still playing video games, but after a while, Xylan walked in with a fat woman. "Conan, your mother is here." "Ah. I can break the dimensional wall." Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 288. The night before Kudo Yosaku and Kudo Yukiko were going to trick Conan, they were making final preparations to complete the trick. At this time, Yukiko Kudo was sorting out her disguise tools, and an exquisite disguise mask appeared in her hand. "Tell me, can our plan really succeed?" Yukiko Kudo looked at her husband. It was a man who looked very similar to Kudo Shinichi, just with a little more beard. Their so-called plan is to let Kudo Yukiko pretend to be Conan's mother, then take him out of the Maori office, and then pretend to be a black organization to scare Conan. "Don't worry, based on what I know about Shinichi, he will definitely be fooled," Yosaku Kudo said unhurriedly. "He knows his son very well, so he is very confident in his plan. What I care about is not Xinyi, but another person. Didn't Dr. Ali say that Xinyi told him that in the Maori office, there is a Chinese man whose reasoning ability is much stronger than him? His name seems to be Sioruo. The existence of this individual may affect our plans." When Yukiko Kudo said this, her tone was still a little surprised, because her son was a proud person, and apart from admiring homes, he never felt that anyone was more powerful than him. Yosaku Kudo touched his chin, showing an interesting expression. This world is really big. It is really rare for a person from Hwagyo whose reasoning ability can make Shinichi admit defeat, and he seems to be about the same age as Shinichi. I really want to meet him. Ah, then our whole person plan won't be debunked by him, so it's meaningless. Can you trick him? Kudo Yukiko asked Kudo Yosaku. Yukiko, don't worry, nothing will happen. No matter how powerful a detective is, it is impossible to expose our identities without evidence, so there will be no problems. Yosaku Kudo smiled. Hearing what her husband said, Yukiko Kudo breathed a sigh of relief. For her husband, Yukiko Kudo was still very relieved. If he said it was fine, then it must be fine. That puts my mind at ease. And from the information I got from Dr. Ali, Zinyi often mentioned him, and I almost learned some information about Syaruo. It seems that the other party is an interesting person. It seems that I have to prepare some for him. Stuff will do. When Kudo Yosaku said this, his eyes narrowed and he looked at his wife. Yukiko, I need your help. What? Back to the present, on this day, it was snowing heavily outside, and the road was all white. And in Mauritius. Conan, your mother is here. Mao Lilan walked in with a fat woman with glasses. Both Conan and Syaruo looked at the woman. Syaruo watched the woman's face from the side. He knew that the other's face was fake, it was actually Yukiko Kudo, but only looking at the face, he really couldn't find any flaws. In the world of Conan, disguise is like something as magical as magic. I'm sorry, Conan, you must be lonely by yourself, you can rest assured now, come and go home with your mother. The fat woman walked up to Conan, hugged Conan, and said, Who are you? Conan broke free from the fat woman's embrace and took a step back. Aren't you Conan's mother? Morikogoro walked over frowning. Of course I am. The kid Conan is making trouble again. It's all my fault for leaving him here. The fat woman pulled out a business card from her wallet. My name is Fumiyo Edogawa, and I'm Conan's mother. This time I came here to take Conan home. Morikogoro took the other party's business card and began to check it. Syaruo took advantage of this moment to look at Conan with a smile on her face. Conan, you can finally go home. Hey, you know, I'm Kudo Shinichi, and my mother is Kudo Yukiko. This person is definitely not my mother. Conan explained to Syaruo next to him in a low voice. Of course I know, so this woman may be from the black organization. Syaruo also responded in a low voice. Then what should we do? Conan was also in a panic at this time, and the organization in black had always been a shadow in Conan's heart. If you don't admit it now, if there is a big trouble, the other party may directly take out a pistol and shoot. Both Xiaolan and Mr. Maori will be in danger, so you can go back with that woman, and you can find out the other party's location by the way. Syaruo whispered to Conan with a smile. Compared to Conan's panic, Syaruo seemed as calm as usual. You can follow the other party away, no matter where they take you, I can find you, Conan, trust me. Syaruo's tone at this time was a little more serious. Rely on you. Hearing Syaruo's promise, Conan can only trust Syaruo at this time. After all, he has no certainty of escaping from the black organization. Conan still believes in Syaruo's ability, because the other party can always do amazing things, and now, Conan only has Syaruo as a helper. In Conan's impression, under normal circumstances, Syaruo is still reliable. Conan, come back with me. At this time, after verifying the identity of Morikogoro, the fat woman came to Conan's side. She took Conan's hand, and Conan did not refuse at the moment. Conan, you can finally be reunited with your family. After you leave, I will miss you, Syaruo said with emotion as if she had entered the drama. Conan's mouth twitched. I'll just send Conan off, and Xylan and Mr. Mori will just stay here. Because it was snowing heavily outside the house, Syaruo prevented Xylan and Mori Kogoro from going out, but went to see Konan off by herself. Syaruo followed the fat woman and Konan to the car she drove. "This child is really thanks to you for taking care of it, and I will definitely thank you in the future," said the fat woman, leading Konan into the car. "Konan, come back to play in the future," Syaruo waved to Konan. The eyes of the two met together. Syaruo gave Konan a reassuring look. Konan looked at Syaruo's gaze, and for some reason, the uneasiness in his heart disappeared. "We're leaving." The fat woman gave Syaruo a meaningful look, but she didn't know what that look meant. "Goodbye." Syaruo nodded slightly, her face calm. However, just before the car started, a girl with long brown hair and gorgeous clothes passed by the side of the road. Just as she walked up to Syaruo, the girl suddenly fell down and lay on the ground. On Syaruo's body. "Miss, are you okay?" Syaruo quickly hugged the fallen girl. "It's okay, but the snow is too slippery." The girl in Syaruo's arms looked pitifully at the boy who was hugging him. The girl was wearing very little clothes, and the surrounding temperature was obviously very low, but the other party still showed her shoulders and white thighs, and her white eyes dazzled people. Moreover, the girl's appearance is quite high, and she always feels like a star on TV. Coupled with her delicate body and delicate expression, it is definitely a critical blow to a boy. Syaruo doesn't remember that there will be good luck in today's plot, but it doesn't matter, the world is so wonderful, and accidents happen occasionally. "It's fine," Syaruo smiled at the girl in her arms. "Thank you." With Syaruo's support, the girl stood firm, but she once again looked at Syaruo with pitiful eyes, and the expression on her face looked a little weak. "Well, sir, I'm not very comfortable today, I don't have much strength to walk, can you take me home?" Konan looked at this scene, his eyes almost popped out. "Hey hey hey! Trap, it's a trap! Don't look, let's go!" The corner of the fat woman's mouth raised slightly, and she drove away with Konan. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 289. Konan didn't believe that Syaruo would lose the chain in this situation. But when he thought of Syaruo's usual performance, Konan felt a little guilty. When he looked back, he saw that Syaruo had been entangled by that girl and was walking to the opposite place. The opposite place? No way. Could it be that that guy saw the beauty and forgot about me? Although this kind of thing is unlikely to happen, when he thought of Syaruo, Konan felt that he would indeed do such a thing. Konan's heart suddenly became shattered as if it had been hit by a huge iron hammer. What Syaruo said to him seriously before, and the scenes, all came to Konan's mind. Syaruo's tone was firm, and there was a trustworthy power in his eyes. "Wherever they take you, I can find you, Konan, trust me. Believe me. Trust me." I snapped. The Syaruo in Konan's mind disappeared, replaced by the old CP who took the beauty and sent the beauty home. Sure enough, that guy is the same kind of person as Uncle Mao Li, who always loses the chain at critical moments, and in the end he can only rely on himself. In the car, Konan began to look at the fat woman beside him, and asked, "Auntie, who are you?" "Oh he, didn't I just say that? I am your mother." "You're lying, my mother is." "Kyudo Yukiko," the fat woman said calmly, "your mother is the man who will confuse the whole world, a glamorous actress who came to Japan after winning the grand prize at the age of 19. But she fell in love with the young Yosaku Kudo and got married at the age of 20, so she retired bravely and gave birth to a son, but now she left her son here and went abroad with her husband, a world-class reasoner playing, right? You are her only son, Kudo Shinichi." Hearing this, Konan's pupils shrank. Could it be that this person is really the companion of the man in black who forced me to take medicine to make my body smaller? That boy just now is really interesting, haha. The fat woman didn't know why, and suddenly mentioned Syoruo. He should know your identity, but it doesn't matter, he will disappear into this world soon. You mean? Conan's face darkened. Is that woman just now your companion? That's right, you guessed it right, we have to eliminate any potential crises that could expose our organization, the fat woman said while driving. At this time, while she was driving, Conan slowly began to put his hand on his paralysis watch. At the same time, he continued to talk to divert the woman's attention. If you are going to deal with Syoruo, you are really looking for the wrong person, that guy, but a monster whose reasoning level can surprise even Sherlock Holmes. The person you send may be seen through by him at a glance, and he is very you will be able to bring the police to find me soon, and you should be the ones to worry about. The fat woman was a little surprised when she heard Conan's words. You think so highly of him? At this moment, Conan turned on his paralysis watch and wanted to shoot at the fat woman, but before that, a pitch-black pistol had already reached Conan's head. Don't move around. If you are obedient, I will take you to a good place, which is much more interesting. Conan had no choice but to put down the anesthesia watch in his hand. Of course, Conan did not sit still, he was looking for opportunities all the time. When Conan was in a crisis, Syoruo was following the girl and was about to send her home. The other party seemed to be feeling a little uncomfortable. He kept holding Syoruo's arm while walking. The two walked on the road like a couple. As for Conan. Conan. Who is Conan? Haha, Syoruo actually doesn't really want to destroy the little game between other people's family, anyway, nothing will happen in the end. Miss, it's snowing so much today, and you still wear so little, even if it's for looking good, you have to pay attention to your body. Syoruo took off her coat, put it on the brown-haired girl, and wrapped her bare shoulders covered. Thank you. Feeling the warmth of the clothes, the brown-haired girl seemed a little shy and blushed. Miss, have I seen you on TV? Syoruo looked at the woman wrapped around her arm, and she did have some impression of her appearance. Did you recognize it? The beautiful woman ran her hands through her hair in front of her, showing a provocative gesture. I'm Yu Yexu. Syoruo thought for a while, her identity came to mind, subconsciously, the corner of Syoruo's mouth curled up. Oh, I remembered, you are a member of the Earth Ladies team, and you are in the same group as Miss Okino Yoko, but the group disbanded later, and now you are an all-round entertainer, no wonder I seem to have seen you on TV. Looks like I got lucky and met a star. But if Syoruo's memory is correct, she seemed to want to kill someone later, but Conan exposed the murderer's identity. The reason for the crime seems to be a matter of emotion and jealousy. It's really embarrassing to be recognized by you, Yu Yexu said shyly, but she raised her chin slightly, showing no shy expression at all. Yu Yexu was asked by Kudo Yukiko to come and pester Syoruo for a while, although she didn't know the meaning of doing so, but seeing this boy growing up well, she didn't have any complaints. What she wants to do is to ask Syoruo to take herself home first, and then cook him a meal by herself. If she delays for a while, the task will be considered as completed. What has Miss Yuye been up to lately? Syoruo started chatting with her on the way to send her back. Recently, I'm going to make a new movie recently. In it, I played the role of the vicious female lead. I don't know why, but I can't always take good roles. Talking about this matter, Yu Yexu was a little worried, and there is also a scene of love in it. I am really not good at acting in love. Love. Syoruo just smiled, didn't say anything, and continued to send her home. And Conan, while the fat woman was waiting for the traffic light, finally found a chance for the other party to relax his vigilance. Conan slapped the other party's pistol away, then stepped on the accelerator with his foot, and let the car rush out. After running the red light, more than a dozen cars hugged each other, and the sound of horns never stopped. In the panic of the fat woman, Conan opened the side door and jumped out of the car. Compared with Sioruo's relaxed and comfortable side, Conan's side is like shooting an action movie, full of sense of crisis. After getting off the car, Conan quickly found a secret place and called Sioruo. Conan was worried about Sioruo's safety and waited anxiously for the call to be connected. However, the call has not been connected for a long time. Could it be, something happened? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 290. Quickly answer the phone. Conan held his mobile phone anxiously. When he came out, he was waiting for Sioruo to save him. Unexpectedly, the situation turned around. Isn't Sioruo usually very reliable? After about 5 or 6 seconds, the call was connected. On the other side of the phone, Sioruo's calm voice came. Moshi Moshi, is that Conan? Hearing Sioruo's voice, Conan breathed a sigh of relief when he knew that he was fine. He was really worried that Sioruo was killed by the Black Organization. However, when he heard Sioruo's calm voice, Conan suddenly felt a little uncomfortable. Obviously his life and death speed here. Why are you still so calm? Didn't you say you were going to save me? It's me, Conan replied speechlessly. Conan, you escaped. Sioruo's voice on the phone was a little surprised. It seems that their level is not very good. They let you escape so easily. I planned to save you. Conan. I don't know why, but from Sioruo's tone, Conan couldn't hear any sign of caring for him. Moreover, what he said, he planned to save himself, felt like he was just talking casually. Sioruo's attitude gave Conan an illusion, that is, Sioruo was not with those guys. Sioruo, what the hell are you doing? Do you know that I am in danger now? By the way, you are also in danger. The woman you met has a problem. Where are you now? Unlike Sioruo, Conan is very nervous, while on the phone, still looking around. Sioruo glanced at Uyexu at the side, and said to the phone, I'm taking a girl home who is not feeling well, and when I send her back, I will go to save you. You hold on first, by the way. Suddenly, Sioruo's tone became more serious. Conan, you will be fine, trust me, and watch carefully. After all, the phone was hung up. Conan looked at the hung-up phone with a dazed expression. At the end of the phone call, he seemed to have heard Sioruo talking and laughing with that girl. What's going on here? Could it be that Sioruo was kidnapped by someone? Also, what did he mean by the last words? Is it a code word? He asked me to observe. What to observe? Damn, what did he find? Sioruo's flat reaction made Conan's mind mess up. However, the confusion only lasted for a moment, and Conan quickly regained his composure, and began to touch his chin habitually, analyzing the matter. By the way, why was my identity exposed, and the other party was able to find my identity at the Maori office so smoothly? The only ones who know that I'm getting smaller are Sioruo and Dr. Ali, and there is no one else. I did use Kudo Shinichi's voice to solve the case in a previous case, but I remember that I asked police officer Megure not to say it. Could it be that it was exposed there? There are black organizations in the police station, maybe undercover. No, Sioruo's attitude is also very suspicious. It always feels like he knows something. For some reason, Sioruo suddenly became suspicious in Conan's reasoning. After all, the person who betrays himself can only be undercover in the police station. Dr. Ali and Sioruo choose one of the three, and the fat woman said that Sioruo should disappear from this world after knowing the news about the organization. Sioruo was fine. Could it be that? Conan shook his head and shook off the thoughts in his mind. His intuition told him that Sioruo should not betray himself. At this time, the fat woman in the car was calling another person, and the other person seemed to be the fat woman's boss. I'm sorry to let that kid run away, but I guessed right, that kid must be Kudo Shinichi, it can't be wrong. Even if Conan is gone, Kudo and his wife are still acting seriously. The man on the phone sneered, really? It turns out that guy has really shrunk. Find it for me right away, and it will be troublesome for him to go to the police. But where can I find it? Don't worry, the next place he will definitely go to is Dr. Ali's home. Okay. Suddenly, the fat woman thought of Syaruo. By the way, what about that young man from Huaguo? The other party doesn't seem to have taken any action yet, has he been deceived? Hearing this, there was a silence on the other side of the phone. Go catch Conan first. Yes. At this time, neither of them continued to talk about Syaruo. Just as the person on the phone analyzed, Conan can only go to Dr. Ali now. There seemed to be no one at Dr. Ali's house, so Conan had to wait in the alley not far from Dr. Ali's house. It was still snowing heavily, and Conan looked extremely lonely in the alley. Dr. Ali knows all this, we should talk to him first, but the doctor is really slow, where will he go for a walk at this time? At this moment, Conan's cell phone rang suddenly, and a text message suddenly came from Conan's cell phone. It's a text message from Syaruo. Conan quickly opened Syaruo's text message, and then he found that Syaruo sent himself 2 words. Night Baroness. Wait, what does this mean? A flash of lightning passed through the back of Conan's head. Conan's head seemed to grab something, but at this moment, a figure of a fat woman appeared behind Conan, covering Conan's nose and mouth with a handkerchief. Hateful. Before losing consciousness, Conan used his last strength to delete the text messages sent by Syaruo by relying on the deletion sequence in his memory. On the other side, Syaruo held her mobile phone and looked at the content of the text message just sent. I don't know if Conan has received the message I sent. The message just now was sent by Syaruo, at this time he had already sent Yuyexu home. On the way to send the girl home, Syaruo felt that she didn't care about it like this, and whether it was a bit bad to see Conan being punished like that. So Syaruo wanted to give Conan some hints and let him find out the truth by himself. That hint is, Night Baroness. The Baroness of the Night. The D.Y. Gray Cells Night Baroness, the female detective with gray cells, the Baroness of the Night, this is Yukiko Kudo's self-proclaimed name, so the Night Baroness represents Yukiko Kudo, Shinichi's mother. There were no obvious loopholes in Yosaku Kudo's prank plan. However, in the end, Yosaku Kudo also said that Conan didn't see the truth, because he didn't care about his new book, and Yosaku Kudo, the masked man, was the character in Yosaku Kudo's book, The Dark Knight Baron. The hint is so obvious, I hope Conan can guess it. I can break the dimensional wall. Author, Zhou Jumiao. Chapter 291. The fat woman took Conan to a house in the suburbs. Not long after, Conan woke up in a daze, and he soon noticed that he was in a dark room. Where is this? It seems to be the kitchen. Thinking of this, Conan stood up. Damn it, my head is still dizzy. After jumping on the cabinet, Conan looked out the window. It turned out that they took me to the 2nd floor of this house while I was unconscious. Although Conan was in a predicament, he quickly regained his composure. I remember that before I fainted, I received a text message from Syaruo. The reminder he gave me was, Night Baroness, the Baroness of the Night. I remember that the character of the Baron of the Night is the character in Dad's new novel. Although I haven't seen that character yet, I've heard of this character. Why did Syaruo give me such a hint? Could it be that he found out that this kidnapping is related to the Baron of the Night? However, the Baron of the Night is a character in the movie, and the only person who can be related is Dad. Conan suddenly grasped the point. Once there are clues, some things can be straightened out. If this is the case, Dad can indeed know my identity through DRLI. Has Syaruo reasoned to this point? Maybe he noticed something from the first time he saw the fat woman. Based on his observation and reasoning ability, maybe you can see through the disguise of a fat woman at a glance. Syaruo reminded me of the Baroness of the Night, which means that the fat woman is my mother, and this kidnapping is just a prank game for them. No wonder Syaruo told me not to worry, trust him. It turns out that he has already seen through. It's really scary. Although the reasoning has come to this point, Conan's expression still does not relax. After all, these are just Syaruo's reasoning, but he himself has not found evidence to prove all this, so he can't relax. But from the bottom of his heart, Conan is willing to believe in Syaruo. Whether it's a prank game or not, this game must continue. At this time, Conan heard a conversation outside the door, so Conan quietly walked to the door and eavesdropped on their conversation. "What? You haven't killed him yet," a strangely dressed man with a strange mask said loudly. Although Yosaku Kudo is not an actor, his acting skills are also very realistic. After knowing that Conan woke up, the couple began to act in front of Conan. "Please don't embarrass me, please, this is an order from the superior," the fat woman explained. "The superior said that his side effects from the drug were a special case, so I had to bring him back to the organization." Organization? The Black Organization? Conan listened carefully at the door. At this moment, the man with the mask seemed to have noticed Conan and walked towards Conan, but Conan pretended to be unconscious and hid in advance. However, Conan deeply remembered the mask of that person. "Is that kid still awake?" the fat woman asked. The masked man shook his head. "Not yet, I think the effect of the medicine is still there, but is it really Kudo Shinichi in it? I still can't believe it, but the day Kudo Shinichi lost his whereabouts, with this the day when the boy appeared in the office happened to be the same, and after that, everything that happened around Morikogoro was basically resolved satisfactorily. I thought, this must be the new kind developed by the organization, the better to make his body smaller." The masked man sneered a few times. "So, I'll give it a try too. I brought a little of the medicine developed by the organization with me when I came out. I just need to let others take this medicine, and I'll know it's good. It's not about making people smaller." The fat woman was a little puzzled. "But who are you going to let take this medicine?" "The man who traded with us tomorrow. Didn't the organization say that the transaction was over and let us deal with him? I just took that to try him. After knowing the efficacy of this medicine, what are your plans?" "In short, kill the man who traded first, and then deal with this brat. Didn't I tell you? The organization is going to investigate the side effects of this kid, and the superior has ordered me to take him back, don't you understand?" The fat woman looked abnormal when she heard that the masked man was going to kill Conan. Excited. "Humph, those who know the secrets of the organization cannot let him live." "But don't talk about it, I've already made up my mind, you have to be nagging, I don't mind an extra corpse." The masked man aimed his gun at the fat woman's head. I see." The masked man withdrew his gun. "Have you told that man where the deal was?" "Still according to our old method, the trading time is at 13 o'clock. "Well," the masked man nodded, "we can have a good sleep now." During the rest time of the two outside the door, Conan began to look for a way to leave. Finally, in the kitchen, Conan found a box that could hide a child, pretending to be the illusion that he jumped out of the window, and successfully deceived fat woman and masked man. But, in fact, Yosaku Kudo didn't want to point it out. After the fat woman and the masked man left, Conan began to look for clues in the room. On the trash can and the calendar, Conan found the clues left by Kudo Yosaku, and deduced where the masked man said the transaction was. If my reasoning is correct, Mihwa Hotel 30, this is where they trade. However, before that, I have to confirm one thing. After Conan learned of the location of the transaction, he didn't go directly to Miwa Hotel, but went to a bookstore first, and found the latest book published by his father. Sure enough, in the illustration, Conan saw the illustration of the Baron of the Night. In the illustration, the image of the Baron of the Night is the image of the masked man. Conan will not be wrong about this. The moment he saw it, Conan already understood that this incident was just a prank incident by his father. This illustration is proof. It's disgusting. I didn't expect to be so cruel to my son and threaten me with a gun. Conan couldn't help clenching his teeth when he thought of the truth. If you want to play games, then I will accompany you to the end. However, as expected of Syaruo, he really saw through it completely. No wonder he told me not to worry. What a terrible reasoning ability. Conan shook his head. Syaruo's reasoning was always a little unbelievable, and Conan was used to it. Next, I'll go to the Rice Flower Hotel and explain everything to my father. During the period when Conan was in a daze, Syaruo was at Uyexu's house. Anyway, he was fine, so he just sat here for a while. Mr. Syaruo, please take me back. I seem to be feeling better now. You must be hungry. Please sit here first. I'll make you something to eat, Uyexu said to Syaruo said. However, Syaruo took a step ahead, stretched out her hand to hold Uyexu's shoulder, and pushed her onto the sofa. When Syaruo touched Uyexu's shoulder, the two made physical contact, and Uyexu's face flushed slightly. Syaruo smiled and looked at her. Isn't Ms. Yuya unwell? If so, leave the cooking to me. How can I let someone who is not feeling well cook? Ah, can Mr. Syaruo know how to cook? Uyexu asked curiously. It will definitely surprise you. Syaruo responded with a smile, and then made a bowl of noodles for Uyexu. With Syaruo's cooking skills, there is absolutely no problem with the dishes. After eating the noodles made by Syaruo, Uyexu felt light and light all over. She has already forgotten why she invited Syaruo over. Now she feels that a boy like Mr. Syaruo, who is gentle, good-looking, and good at cooking, who can take care of others, really it appeared in front of my eyes. Uyexu felt that she was really dizzy. At this time, Syaruo picked up a script and looked at Uyexu. Well, the script I found on the table just now, I think the plot in it is very interesting. Do you want to try it? Don't you always appear when you are acting? Questions. I want to rehearse with you. Good. Uyexu nodded subconsciously. Syaruo stretched out one arm and put it on Uyexu's shoulder, and put the other arm on Uyexu's ear. Children don't have this kind of expression. I want to see you in a more mature way. Is there such a line? Uyexu was a little dazed, but seeing Syaruo's face getting closer and closer, she felt that her breathing was a little short. Syaruo moved her face close to Uyexu's. Near. When they were about to kiss each other, Uyexu closed his eyes. However, Syaruo bypassed her lips and put her mouth close to her ear. You were sent here for time. Don't do this next time. Really, it was delayed for a long time by you. After finishing speaking, Syaruo let go of Uyexu's arms, picked up the coat that was lying on the sofa, and walked out. Conan, as I said, I will come to you after work, and I will definitely come to you.